Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime with Anna. We are here a day late, and the reason why is because sometimes things just happen, and things just cannot happen, and that's that. It's all good. You guys are still going to be able to see the interview just a day later, which it's probably for reasons. Maybe there's somebody who's going to catch it that should be catching this interview and should be able to help, because that's the whole purpose for this interview. Right now, I have on air with me Amy Brooks. Amy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for taking out of your time to come here on Lunchtime with Anna and to talk about this situation that affects you in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
So can you start by introducing yourself and then telling us about the situation while we wait on your husband, Maurice Brooks, to call in?
My name's Amy. I'm Maurice Brooks' wife. We are he was sentenced to 226 years, and he's already served a time of 25 years. And we have sat and we have watched, I've read numerous cases just like his or way worse, and they didn't even get even a dent into the time that he has gotten. We have tried, to raise money for a lawyer and stuff, because we really just need somebody to fight in this case. There's no reason. Nobody was hurt in the robberies and stuff, and he was only 19 when it happened. And
Okay, so Amy, a few questions. First of all, you said Maurice Navarro Brooks was sentenced to 226 years for some robberies, right?
Yes.
Second of all, can you please tell me where these crimes occurred and what kind of robberies these were?
They were bank robberies.
And where did they occur?
In Kentucky, in Louisville.
The crimes 226 years. He's served 15. Is that what you said?
25.
25 of those years.
26 now.
26 out of those years.
Yes.
Wow. That's a long time. He was 19 when these crimes happened. So he was a baby, right? Because they say our brain doesn't fully mature till we're about 25. And I truly believe that. What is the background on the crimes that you can tell us as far as you're concerned? What made his sentence be 226 years? Let me word that better. I did lose Amy Brooks. So at this point, I do have Maurice on the phone, and I'm able to speak with Maurice, so I'm going to have him give the background. However, I did lose Amy Brooks, so we will try to give him to get a full breakdown. Maurice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Maurice. How are you? First of all, thank you for making it possible to be here on my platform on Lunchtime with Anna. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you. The second thing is I did lose Amy. We've had some technical difficulties. So we had to restart the broadcast and everything. So if it's at all possible, can you start telling us about your case as much as you can, and then we'll work with it until we can get her back in or you in.
All right. About me, first and foremost, before I say anything, I really want to say that to the people who was like victims of my crimes, that I apologize and I'm very remorseful. And me and my wife, we had got together with the idea really like reaching out to him, but we just went against it, being that it was outside of the court. So we just left it alone. But about me, in 1996, I took part in 9 robberies and deployed to get my co-defendants out of jail. And I ended up getting the money, but the thing about it, they was like I was put in a situation where I was forced to go to trial. So I got hit with a trial penalty, and my trial penalty resulted in with the stacking 924C. They ended up giving me 226 years first time prison sentence. So I just been fighting that right now. What the Congress did when they passed the First Step Act is they expanded the use of compassionate release to the sentencing judges. So now the sentencing judges have time where they can go back and review old cases like mine. The 924Cs is outdated now. So it's up to the judges to really to go back to them, review them, look at them, and decide on what they're going to do with them. And being like, I've been locked up so long, they could base a lot around my post-rehabilitation, you know what I mean, things of that nature. So that's what I'm fighting right now.
Okay, so Maurice, we'll begin by asking this. When you got this sentence, how long ago was your sentence?
In 1996.
And that's 26 years?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a long time. I want to say that. So since these crimes happened, now I want to ask, was anybody hurt in any of these crimes? And guys, he did say 9 armed robberies. Okay, we heard it. Bank robberies. Okay, we heard, you heard correctly. However, you know, you guys take into consideration, right? When you're listening to his story, he was 19 years old. A lot of us have done some really dumb things when we were 19 years old. Like I was tell everybody, we do not fully mature until the age of at least 25. So consider that when it comes to Maurice. Maurice, go ahead.
Yeah, so you know they had gave me the 226 years, but I never shot no gun. I never touched nobody. You know what I mean? Out of all 9 robberies. So you know they was like they had gave me credit for that as far as like when I was being sentenced.
Okay, wait. Rewind. So there wasn't even an armed robbery? Like it was just robberies?
No, it was armed robbery. We had guns. You know, we had guns. We brandished the weapons during the robbery, but nobody was never hurt. No gun discharge or nothing like that. We never had no shootouts. Nobody shot. Nothing like that.
Okay. And then can we go back and can I ask you why 226 years? Why not like life? And then you're able to switch this. What was the whole purpose in giving you the 226 years so that the audience understands?
To put in a nutshell is because I want to cooperate with the government against my co-defendants. They came with an off-record plea for 10. You know, and I turned that down. So then they came and offered me 30 years. The 30 years was supposed to be that I admit to my involvement in the robberies, and I ain't have to cooperate, testify against nobody, none of that. So I did it. Me and a couple of my co-defendants, we did that. We took those pleas. But then they came back, and the government felt like if we was to cop out to them please other people who was alleging the crimes, that they would get off. So it forced us to have to go to trial. So we took the pleas back because the pleas was breached, not on our part, but on the government part. So we gave the pleas back. When we gave the pleas back, we went to trial. The statements that we made during the course of the plea was allowed to be used against us at trial. You know what I'm saying? Which was really like detrimental for us, you know, even going to trial. Then they hit us with a trial penalty. You know what I'm saying? So it was just so many variables. And then being that we was young, that's like one of my things is I feel like Constitution should be taught in school. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because they say that ignorance is no excuse for the law, and it's not. But at the same time, if you educated, you know what I'm saying, when you're young and you're going through these type of situations, it don't really matter. Even if it's like a lot of us, especially like in urban communities, we get caught up, you know what I mean, because of our economic situation. Then in the 90s, the crack was real big. Yes. It was paramount, and a lot of people don't look at that. You know what I'm saying? That's like same thing with the DC. It was a lot of murder. It was a lot of murder in Miami. It was a lot of murder everywhere because of the crack, and it was designed. But a lot of us, you know, weren't put in a situation where we could really, like, you know, understand what we was going through, the psychological toll that it was taking on us, to really to be able to discern and make them proper type choices. And then, you know, like my father died when I was young, when I was in middle school. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no excuse. Ain't nothing, no excuse what I'm saying. But at the same time, I'm saying, you emulate what you see, and what I saw coming up, you know what I mean? It was just like, even though it was wrong, it was acceptable. It had a lot to do with my thinking process.
Maurice, I love your transparency. I'm going to tell you, because you're showing remorse, right? You're taking accountability, right? And you're giving us a little bit more of why. And guys, that is true. Growing up, I could imagine then Maurice has to be close and around my age. Me being Boricua, there was a lot of families that got destroyed, even in my culture. A lot of things that are not spoken of. A lot of people we will not see. A lot of people that were incarcerated. A lot of foster care. I mean, this was the reality of what happened with those mass incarcerations and all that good stuff. I mean, we can go back to that and talk about that for years to come. But back to your case, because I really want to focus on that. You wouldn't take anything, you and your co-defendants. And of course, that does sound like it would be detrimental to me, right? That they have you use your plea, your plea deals, whatever you sign. That's horrendous. Now, why do you think that they've turned around and explained to them what this law or this bill is that was signed that can give you an opportunity to get out? But first, before you do that, can you please talk a little of your behavior since you've been incarcerated 26 years?
Yeah, I put a PDF file together, really, so it could be like public support. So everybody who's like interested in my case, they could pull it up, or it could be sent to them, through email, which is I'm gonna have it sent to you. So anybody want to see it, they can see it. It got my incident reports since I've been locked up. I done had 6. You know what I mean? No violence, no nothing like that. Out of 26 years, but rehabilitation is like what's big to me, because when you come to prison, it's not about the prison don't change you. You know what I mean? It don't do none of that. What prison do is put you in a situation where you forced to sit still, but at the same time, you got all type of tools around you that you can utilize to make yourself better. And if you don't act on that and take advantage of them opportunities, then there's just like this out on you. So can't nobody, no staff, no nothing can make you rehabilitate yourself. It got to be something that's wanted. And me, I wanted it. You know what I mean? I broke away from them type of circles, them type of mentalities, them ideologies. I got away from all of that. Anything that's dealing with the street concept, any type of that type of lifestyle. Like, that was my life growing up. But, I done broke that because I see that it is better. And, I came up with a program. It's a trade skill development, because a lot of the dudes who I've been gone a long time with, who, been fortunate enough to be released, they done went home. Skills that they learned in here is provide for them and their families. And not only that, they able to get back to their community, which is a beautiful thing, because a lot of times you not, especially like me when I was young, I never worked. Like, I ain't had no job. You know what I'm saying? I ain't had to have no drug. I had crack. Like, that was my money. You know what I'm saying? And, it just like keeping it all the way, like, just real and honest. So I never seen work. I never knew that I could work like that. You know what I mean? So me to be able now to just reflect on my past and what I learned since I've been in here, you could take what you learn in here, you go home and you could give back, and it sustain you. So I learned, like, my education. I took college. I took college since I've been in here. Nutrition, I was real big on that, and I got certified to be a personal trainer. I got my CDLs. It's so much. I love to cook. So I used to cook for the wardens and stuff in the last institutions I was in. So it's a lot of stuff that I'm really passionate about. But if I'm not able to really get that second opportunity that's in my judge's hand, and he got the power to do it, then it's like it ain't all for naught, because I'm proud of the steps that I've taken to get to where I'm at. But at the same time, it'll still be like a little sting. You know what I'm saying? Seeing that other people who are in the same type of situation, meaning they got different judges who you can say liberal, whatever the case may be. But they look at their case and review their case, and the authority that they got, they utilize it and set them dudes free, so they on the street. The same type of case that I got, people on the street.
So, and Maurice, a big pat on your back and a round of applause to you for all that you've been able to do while in there, because you made a positive out of that negative, and that to me speaks 1,000 words. As you know, I have a human justice organization as well as have Lunchtime with Anna. I hear all kinds of different interviews. This has been a first. Your interview, what you're saying is a first, and I just personally, on a personal level, want you to know I appreciate what you're saying, because it's possible. As hard as that jungle is in there, right? Because I hear so much how it's a jungle in there, literally.
It is.
Yeah. How you were able to overcome that and take a different route. So congratulations and big ups to you on that, right?
Thank you.
So now I have to ask about you going and taking all of this back to the judge. First of all, was this the sentencing judge or no?
It's the same sentencing judge. Everything goes before the same judge I was sentenced under.
Okay. So same sentencing judge that gave you 226 years. What give us the role, how that has taken place, and then we'll talk about where you stand at now with that.
Well, my sentencing judge, what I've really been doing like lately is I collected a lot of recommendation letters from the staff, the people around me every day, and I sent them to him. I included them in my motion for reconsideration that was denied. So when I sent it to him, he finally acknowledged like all the good that I've been doing, because the people who wrote letters for me, they not just regular like staff, they like high staff. You know what I'm saying? One of the people who wrote a letter for me, he's over the DHO in the Southeast region. He like over all the prisons. You know what I'm saying? He a disciplinary, like the hearing officer, and he wrote me a recommendation letter. So, you know, I got people who distinguish in their careers, you know what I'm saying, and in their positions who written on my behalf. You know what I'm saying? And then,
So may I ask, how recent was that final motion before you finished saying what you were saying?
It was last year, September 22nd. So I had 28 days to refile for reconsideration. They normally do that though.
Okay.
The phone beeping. So it's gonna hang up. But they normally do that. You know what I'm saying? But really, what keep me strong is my family, my wife, Amy. She been so supportive. You know what I mean? I wrote my book, so she got the book. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get all of it to you. I'm trying to get all the information to you.
I do have Amy back on air, so it worked out perfect. I do have her back on air. So, Amy.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Maurice is about to hang up. But, yeah. You heard your husband speak. How are you feeling?
I just want him home. I mean,
yeah,
it's hard.
Absolutely. And I can just imagine, I must say, Amy, it just seems like, you know, you married a guy who's really made a change, you know, and we'll talk about your perspective in a few, but can you go back to where he was talking about the motions, this motion that he filed? Mm-hmm. What can you add to what he was saying until he's able to call back, so that we're able to, you know, speak a little on that?
The motion he filed, it got denied. Every one of them's got denied. He puts it on. I mean, the judge acknowledged what he has done, the certifications and how far he's come along, but it's like he just keeps denying it. He don't without even thought. He applauded him for, you know, what all he had added and all of his recommendations, and, you know, how his support letters and stuff. And he told him that he pretty much said that he could do this on his own, because he was asking if he could appoint him a lawyer, and he told him he didn't need appointed a lawyer.
So who said that he didn't need an attorney?
When he got his appeal back and when they denied it.
And why?
We don't know.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. So how many times? Okay. So when Maurice was saying that he acknowledged, what was it that he acknowledged? That
just that where he had come along, where he had come along, and the way he had, you know, I mean, pretty much he was just he telling him he's done good about, you know, how far he's come and everything, but it's just like there's just something that he's just not catching to where he's even, you know, being able to get that chance to even have a reduced sentence. He's just
okay. So that's crazy. Okay, so this motion that he just filed in September 22nd, right? That he went to court on. This is motion number what?
Oh, I can't even tell you.
So it's been that many?
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think it is that Maurice can do at this point, to maybe let the judge see a different point of view? Because I'm just not understanding, you know, if everyone around is saying, look, he's a changed man, he's done this or that, and things are different. What is the issue? Because we all make mistakes. We all have messed up. Maybe not to the extreme, right, of what happened with him. But again, no one was hurt. You know, we make mistakes, especially that age, and especially if that's all that he knew, you didn't even work. I mean, all of this should be taken into consideration that at least he's making these changes. So were you able to find what you were looking for?
No, I had paid for the showed how many times he had been denied, but I can't seem to find it.
What do you think that Maurice Navarro Brooks can do different? What in your opinion, as his wife, as his partner, as his right hand, um does Amy think, okay, babe, let's do this, maybe this will work or that will work? What do you think that if you can stand in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, these are the reasons why Maurice should be home, what would you say?
He's not even got to watch his kids grow, and they're all grown now. I think that the judge is really looking for is for him to I've looked over cases of the other cases that are similar to his or way worse, and it seems like they all have about the same thing that Maurice's appeal don't have, and it's like what's traumatized him to do what he did whenever he was that age. And Maurice has come a long way, and he's very smart, and I think he just deserves to be home with his kids. He's already not being able to watch them grow, but he's got grandkids now. His family, he knows he done wrong, and he is sorry. And he's even willing to write. He was willing to write the victims of that was in the bank robberies and tell how sorry he was. I mean, I believe he is sorry, and he deserves another chance. I mean, everybody deserves a second chance.
I wonder if it's possible for him to actually write those letters to the victims.
Well, I have
not send them to him. Send them to the judge. Huh? What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I do have a list of the victims, and I was trying to find a few of them on Facebook just to see who they was and stuff, but I didn't succeed. But I think that maybe you are right that maybe he should write them and then we should send them to the judge also.
Absolutely. And I would say this is what I would like for the victims to hear. Of course, these letters did not go out to them. What I would do for them to get back to them would mean everything to me, because I'm not on that level. I'm just trying to give some suggestions of what I would do from a human justice point of view, right? What I tell my clients to do. The type of things I tell them to do. So, that might be something that you two may consider, because you guys are probably on the right track. Just maybe needed another suggestion of maybe try it this way. See if this works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We're in for any of the suggestions.
So you think it's that they're wanting another point of view, and that's cool. On his background and all of that, and you would think, right, that the judge would just say, okay, I see that, you've done this and that, but I guess sometimes they want to see something else. Now,
I think he just needs somebody to be able to go in there and, and be his voice is what he needs.
Now, let me ask you a question. In case any attorney hears this, what is it that you guys need? Like, what would you guys be looking for if you're looking for an attorney for them to give you guys?
Someone to go in there and argue his case and be able to talk for him and be able, because the judge isn't listening to what none of us is saying, because we have sent letters and stuff for people has wrote for him and everything. But I think we need a lawyer to go in there and will fight for him and argue his case, because it seems like that's all. He don't have nobody in there to argue for him, to be able to show the judge, well, he's done this, he's done that, and you're letting this case go. Not to point fingers, but we've looked at cases that judge has been on, and they've been way worse than Maurice's. I just don't understand why they're keeping him in there for so long, not even reducing his sentence or nothing, not even trying to.
Can you give us a little bit of input on some of the cases that have been crimes, right, that were felonies such as his, and were actually released under this bill that was signed?
Yes, hang on just a second.
Okay, it looks like we lost. I was waiting to hear her in. It looks like we lost Amy Brooks again. But so what I'm trying to figure out from Amy is, how has the judgment went into similar cases? that maybe consisted with an armed robbery. Maybe somebody was shot, or maybe a armed robbery, and it was a lot worse than that. Things like that is what I'm looking for, and we're waiting for her to come back in, or for Maurice to call. So I apologize about that. She lost signal while we're waiting for her to come back on. And Maurice, I mean, are you guys listening to this? So he's getting letters written from everybody. He's got this whole parole pocket. I've actually spoken to Chad Marks, and Chad actually sat here and he helped him with his packet. And he does federal cases. And shout out to you, Chad. If you guys do reach out to him, let him know that Lunchtime with Anna sent you. He's awesome at what he does, and we've been able to communicate, and we spoke about Maurice Brooks, and how he did help him with the packet, and here we go, we're still dealing with this at this point, trying to figure out what's next. And I'll tell you, like Chad was telling me, he was like, look, Anna, this is the thing, you're going to have different types of judges, some that are going to accept it, some that are not, some that will give you a chance, some that won't. We're just hoping either there's a retirement or there's a change of heart somewhere along the line, because it just does not even make sense for a person not to get a second chance, and they truthfully haven't even been around, or weren't even around long enough at that time, right, to be able to show he's the bigger person, and be able to show that he's been trying to at least make these changes all through it. You get your CDL, you become a chef, you write books, you write a program. I'm looking forward to helping in any way that Lunchtime with Anna can, of course, right? And seeing who we can speak with, and seeing how we can help, and who we can speak with behind closed doors to help them out in more ways than one. Because I would love to collaborate with Maurice and Amy Brooks upon him coming home and being able to deal with some of the plus and minuses that come with it. And here she goes. We got Amy back.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, Amy, we got you back. So my question to you was, what other cases have been similar to his?
Montra Owens was one of them. Her order, it was denied, and then she ended up getting a compassionate release. She committed 29 armed robberies at various commercial establishments, and she was released with compassionate release. And then there was a Monalou Stewart. He had fired multiple shots.
I think we lost Amy Brooks again. Maurice, I did not know you were back on. I'm so sorry. We lost Amy again. She's having technical difficulties. Where I left off with her was, how many times have you gone on, first of all, for your motions? How many times have your motions been denied?
Under my compassionate release, it's twice.
Okay.
But I'm on the final stage right now.
So I was telling Amy, and it's just a suggestion, something I was thinking about, right? My mind is always going. You guys mentioned that you guys thought about writing letters to the victims, but weren't sure how that would be, how that would be in a positive or negative way. My suggestion to you guys is, just a suggestion, why don't you write those letters and let the judge know you're not submitting them to the families. However, you are submitting those to him, because that is really how you're feeling, and you would love that maybe at one point or another you could apologize by giving those letters to the families, if at all possible. You like it? Okay. My mind's always going. I do these parole packets all the time to help, and like I tell people, so maybe we can get those together, or you can get those together, and just let me know how it goes, because I want to support you guys in any way possible that I can, right? As an organization, as a person, as a human being, because like I said, you've impressed me so much. I would love to collaborate and go into these different cities and teach people the law, in the projects. Go to the projects and teach them, this is what we're going to do. So if you can promise me that, I'll keep giving you guys suggestions and ideas all the way through. till you get home.
You know what? No, because I really do. I feel like that's really important. And I had talked about that a long time ago because when I first got incarcerated, when I was in USP Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
it was real educational based
Mm-hmm.
being in that environment. You know what I'm saying? At that time, and then I came, like I said, in the mid '90s. There was a lot of political prisoners who was in there too. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they just had their own little self-study classes. You know, we used to be out in the rec yard and, you know, they be educating the young brothers. So we go and they give us something to read, the material. And then we'll read the material, we'll come back. And they'll say, look, man, this is what you got going on with your case. Go to the law library. You know, they had like tables of dudes in there who were helping you. You know, they help those who help themselves. So it was good. But then we came to the conclusion, really just sit back like, man, if we had this type of knowledge when we was going through school.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No. I'm just agreeing. Just yes. That's all. That's it. That's all I have.
Because for real though, because the Constitution is a part of, you know what I'm saying, society's fabric. So it should be something that should be taught. It shouldn't be something that you stumble upon when you caught in the, you know, in the web of the system. It should be already, you know, like it should be knowledge should be already there. So if you educated about certain things you're not gonna do. But when you're not educated, then that's when you make really like irrational decisions, and you know you make like dumb choices.
Ignorant.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
about the life. But you know when you come back on the back end, you know what I'm saying, have to be put in a situation where you got to go through a process like this. You got to educate yourself. You got to broaden your spectrum on life in general, because in this situation right here, you around a lot of different people. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a lot of different mentalities, a lot of different personalities. And sometimes when dudes can't really, you know, separate the egos and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like you know, the outcome be detrimental, and it can be real harmful in this type of situation like this. That's why in here we always say you got to think for the next person, because you can have a lot going on, but you can throw it away.
Absolutely.
Just by, you know, saying reacting, you know, to a situation violently, or you know, like you know, just out of character. So you know, you got to keep all of it. Everything in here every day is like walking on eggshells. You know what I'm saying? Being in this type of situation, even though the institution I'm in right now is low security. So you know, it's like different from the ones that I started in, which was real violent. And this right here is really not. It's not violent, but violence is always, you know what I'm saying,
A possibility.
set in place for it to happen. But it really don't happen too much around here, which is a good thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to be able to take care of what I need to take care of and not be locked in. So we don't really do too many lockdowns.
Maurice, you said a mouthful, and I think it's really important. I will say this. Through the public school systems in Clayton County, Georgia, big ups to Clayton County. Both of my children have been able, one is a senior, one is a sophomore now. Both of my children have been able to take 2 classes. Well, I have one that's going into law, so she took a whole law program in high school. But my son, he took a business management class. And I will say that Clayton County has done an excellent job at teaching them the law, the Constitution, what comes with the bills, amendments, so forth, so on. So I just wanted to say that some counties, and anybody who knows Clayton County knows what Clayton County is known for in Georgia. So, all right, Maurice, I have to ask, can you please give the listening audience, while we have you here, some of the breakdown of cases that were like yours or worse than yours? However, they're out on the streets, but Maurice Navarro Brooks is still sitting there.
I would say one of the main cases I like to use, because I don't use it really like just put the case down. No case that I use this comparison of mine is to put them down or take away from what they went through, and you know, they rehabilitate efforts or nothing. But I like using Adam Clausen, because Adam had a case just like mine. He was sentenced to 213 years, and he came in after me, like 5-6 years after me. You know what I mean? But he went through the whole process. You know, going through that part where you have to learn about yourself and grow in a situation like this is, you know, like it's violent prone. where he, humbled himself and took advantage of all the tools that I was talking about earlier. And what he did was, he educated himself to the point where he got people behind him in the institution who wrote letters for him and pushed for him. And, it was a good thing. But his judge granted him the compassionate release based on his age when he came in. The stacking penalties not being the same. It was a lot of different reasons, but his post rehabilitation under the Peppers, which Peppers is a U.S. Supreme Court decision. Based on your post rehabilitation is one of the factors which you can see if one is extraordinary compelling circumstances for judges to look at your case. So he got that relief. And, it's a host of cases. R.V. Young, Chad Marks, my man. Chad Marks, he did good. So, his judge granted to him. So, it's like an endless list. But I like to use them cases because they had cases just like identical to mine. So they went through the same process, but the only difference is the judge. My judges don't believe in doing it because the case, when Trump signed that bill, the First Step Act, it wasn't signed, it wasn't passed retroactively. But it don't take away from the judge's authority to be able to review cases like mine because it expanded the use for judges to go back and say, okay, I'm gonna consider this case as bad. If he was locked up today, he wouldn't be sentenced to this much time. And they giving us de facto life sentences. It's life in numbers. You can't do the numbers that they giving you. So it's no different from life. You got a case like Simon the Bull. Simon the Bull, everybody knows Simon the Bull. Simon the Bull got murders. And because he cooperated from the government, they gave him 2 years on the street. Then when he on the street, he committed more crimes. But you less of a danger to society if you cooperate with the government. And that's sad because that's really like paying for testimony. So it's not. I tell people this right here. This is how the system was, and I never been through nothing like this in my life. This is my first time going through this. So when I went to trial, when I walked away from the trial and learning from the trial, now if the prosecutor's job is to give me time, it don't matter if I'm guilty or it don't matter if I'm innocent. His job is to convict me. That's his main goal. So like I'm saying, even if I was innocent, he would still convict me because of his job. Now you got a defense attorney. He know I'm guilty. But if I pay him a lot of money, he going to put on a better defense than the prosecution. Then I get out of jail. So it's not the system ain't the system is crazy, man. You know what I mean? It ain't really based on no justice because if it was based on justice at the front of every prison, you say rehabilitation and redemption. That's on the front of the prisons. But you don't base it on that. You send all these kids from Washington to these think tanks and to go to D.C. And when they go down here and they come up with all these programs, reentry programs, they're supposed to be designed to make you a better law-abiding person, productive member of society. But you take these classes, you take these courses, you're not getting no incentive for taking it. You're taking it, so you're just making me a better prisoner.
I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I totally agree with you with the system. I always say the system is a joke. And not to keep bringing up my daughter, and I did bring up Chad Marks in the interview earlier. Again, shout out to Chad Marks. If you'd like to let him know that Lunchtime with Anna send you over, he's very familiar with who I am, and let him know that you heard this interview with Maurice Navarro Brooks, because he knows who he is as well. He knows him very well.
Let me say this real quick, because even when I speak about the disparities, right? What just eliminate all of the racial, rhetoric or whatever how you look at it when it comes to the system. If the sentencing guidelines operated the way that they was put in place, it wouldn't matter if I was in Chicago, it wouldn't matter if I was in Alaska, Puerto Rico, wherever the case may be. If I commit a crime and I was black, and you got a white who commit a crime, the same crime, we should get the same time. It shouldn't be no disparity based on, your economic background or, your family or the race. None of that should play a part. If you break a law, you should get the same sentence because it's a punishment. You got an action and a reaction, and the reaction should be based on any other thing. The race and all that. It just be so negative and it be so crazy because when you actually walking through this and going through this and seeing what it's about, You know what I'm saying? You got to rise above everything that you see and really like go hard. And sometimes it do be hard for me to go through here and just, you know what I'm saying, grapple with the reality of me going through here. And then I know my life is in somebody else's hands, even though I put myself in here. You know what I'm saying? I know, I'm talking about 1,000%. If I could do things different, I would. But at the same time, I know that today I'm not the same person I was 26 years ago.
Absolutely. And
I know I'm ready to be in the society.
And that's the important part. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I have one thing I wanted to add because I know you're getting short on your time. And I want you to know. I have somebody who I'm working with, an advocate up in Chicago, who yes. Can you hear me okay? Okay, I have a judge who is in Chicago, not a judge, I'm sorry, an advocate who is in Chicago. Where we have connected because that very thing that you're talking about right there, we're going to all go to a rally to help people to make sure that the sentence is fair across the line for everybody, every color, every walk of life. It's fair to everybody. And we don't have a Maurice Navarro Brooks and then somebody else who's out on the streets. I don't want to, call out names and whatever, because then, it's like I'm kind of taking sides. And that's not what this interview is about. This interview is to talk about what, and anybody who listens to this, if I have any attorneys listening in, if I have any representatives who listen in, I know you guys do, Congress, anybody connected to anybody that can help us with how to help Maurice Navarro Brooks, please let us know, because that's what we want to do. We want to collaborate with you guys. We want to help this out. We don't want to sit here and be making a big deal and getting people against us, right? Because that's not what it's about. We want to touch the judge in any way possible to have him have some type of compassion towards Maurice Navarro Brooks and Amy Brooks and Maurice's kids. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead and say whatever you got to say. And thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you for having me on, man, Amy. And, like, for whoever listening.
We lost them. And so anyways, I want you guys to know, I leave it up to you guys. If you guys want to reach out to them, I can put contact information. Of course, you could probably look them up under social media, Maurice Navarro Brooks and Amy Brooks, and then we'll take it from there. With that being said, God bless each and every one of you guys. I will see you guys next week on Lunchtime with Anna.